Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Post Frame Podcast. In today's episode, we're talking storm damage. So, in the studio with me today, I have Ben Streitmatter. This is your first podcast episode, right?
It is. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun, man. So, Ben, describe to me what your role here is at FBI.
Yeah. So I serve as a regional sales manager here at FBI, specifically within our repair and renovation division.
Okay, so anything that storm damage or somebody wants to renovate their pole barn, that's you.
Exactly. Really, within FBI's operations, we have a new construction division and then a repair and renovation division. And that's really any form of contact with a building after it was originally built.
Gotcha. Okay. What types of buildings? Is it any building? Do we work on any building?
That's a great question. So any might be a stretch.
Is that a stretch? Okay.
But obviously, we have roots in the post frame industry. So obviously, that's our bread and butter, so to speak, right? But realistically, from a repair and renovation standpoint of view, it's a wide open canvas. We work on a lot of buildings with steel siding, steel roofing. But really, outside of that, we're open to just about anything.
Okay. How about steel frame? Have we done that?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
We've got a couple sizable projects right now that are actually steel frame constructed buildings.
Okay, Ben. So we're going to dive right into it, storm damage and its impacts. So when you think of a storm coming through, tearing up your pole barn, ripping the roof off, doing damage to the sides, that's visible where people can see. So what about the non-visible? Can you kind of hit on that and why that's important?
Absolutely. So obviously, like you said, outside of the, major drive-by from a mile away and can see the roof off, right? You really have to think of these buildings as a group of systems that all work together, right? Each individual component is crucial to the entire system working together. So there's a lot of what you may call minor components that can incur incredible damage during a high wind event or a storm system. So we really need to be paying attention to those little things because it can make a significant impact on the strength of your structure. And it may not be one of those things that you necessarily see just walking around your building.
So to hit on that point, what are some signs that an owner may miss on that?
Sure. So a lot of times, in a post-frame building, your roof diaphragm is really the major component of your building that really ties everything together. So even if the roof from the outside is still intact, a lot of times we'll see separation in some of those major framing members, and even a half inch or an inch of separation can significantly weaken your building. So beyond just face value, minor separation in any of those major components, sometimes we'll see shifting down at the ground. You see a column that's moved even a half inch or an inch can make a major difference on the reliability of your building.
Okay, Ben, so how does the non-visible stuff affect your building long-term?
Sure. The first thing that comes to mind from ETJ is, even minor shifts in movement in that. When you think about these buildings typically have a steel exoskeleton, if you will, right? That's providing the main portion of the strength of your building. In a high wind event, you can actually get enough movement where it can either back the fasteners out a little bit, or you can actually get what we call slotting in the steel. Anytime that happens, you're opening those opportunities for water infiltration and things that may not rear their head immediately, but can drastically change the longevity of your building. And those are things that a trusted builder can be hands-on with your building and start to identify immediately and save you from a lot of headache down the road.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the building inspection report. So how does that help a customer?
Great question, TJ. So the building inspection report really came to life out of our necessity to be able to go analyze the structure of a building, whether we know it's got damage or not, right? And to be able to walk a customer through who isn't a builder, right? Who doesn't do this every day, to be able to walk them through what's the real world analysis of your building. And so it really starts from the ground up. And our purpose behind that is to take our knowledge as a builder and be able to easily translate that into a homeowner, a farmer, a commercial business owner, whatever the case may be. It allows us to translate what we see in your building in an understandable way to you so that you can really get a good grasp of what's the current state and condition of your building.
Next, we'll hit on insurance and the claims process because I know that's a big one for people.
Absolutely. A lot of folks are going through that right now.
Yeah, a lot. So what should they do right after a storm hits?
Yeah, sure. The first thing immediately, right, is being in contact with your insurance company. Anytime you get a high wind or a storm event, most of the time it's not just one person that's going to be impacted by that. A lot of times these storms are going to come make a pretty major impact in your general geography. And so, for lack of better terminology, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So making sure that you are high on the priority list of your insurance company, alerting them early, because a lot of times their resources are going to be spread thin in these storm events. So, to be able to protect your investment and your structures, you want to be able to be early and often on their list.
Gotcha. So you're going to contact them first. Now, after you contact them, are you going to want to go out and take photos of everything for yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Being able to document the damage. And one keynote to really get into here, TJ, is that a lot of times if a structure has incurred damage, that may not be the end of the damage, right? That storm came through, blew a roof off, moved a wall, did something of that nature. Now that building structure is compromised. So being able to document its current condition immediately after the storm can really start to get a better grasp of what's going on. And then is it going to have future damage? Is it at risk for, additional storm-related damage? So really want to capture that data.
So how do we here at FBI work with the insurance companies and the customer?
Great question. So not to say anything bad about any of my insurance adjuster friends, right? I think they're all fantastic human beings.
Hopefully they're watching, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. That's right. So any of you out there, love you guys. But the reality of it is as a builder, we should have, right? We're building professionals. We should have a better understanding of really the intricate details of your building and what may or may not be going wrong. So leaving it completely up to an adjuster coming to see your building and then basically write a report based off of what they see, you really want to go to that added level of getting your builder involved to make sure that you have a full comprehensive analysis of what's going on to be able to help that adjuster work through the process to make sure that they've got everything captured.
So Ben, are there any challenges or misconceptions out there when dealing with the insurance adjusters and all that stuff?
Absolutely. I think the number one challenge for sure, not to limit it to one, but I would say the biggest challenge that our customers face is just timeliness, right? And this really comes down to the relationship that you have with your insurance company. As I said earlier, you get a lot of these storms in one area and resources are spread thin. So just being able to get an adjuster or even your agent to be responsive, get on site, get the claims process started is by far the biggest challenge that we see.
One question we do get a lot, do we work on just our buildings or is it pretty much anybody's building?
That's a great question. So FBI being founded in 1958, we've worked on our own buildings for a long time, but we're in a unique luxury position to be able to have an in-house engineering team as well as in-house manufacturing of our columns and our trusses. So really what that's allowed us to do is to be able to go out and bring our knowledge in the post-frame industry to other manufacturers. So we're really not limited by working off of our own blueprints or what we know as standard details, right? So our experienced team is able to get out, analyze your building, regardless of who the manufacturer is, and be able to break down what we see going on, where were common failure points, what are things that we may be able to re-engineer and actually provide you a better structure today with some repair or renovation. So it really opens the door for us working on any manufacturer.
So we also offer emergency response, is that correct?
Absolutely.
And what's that look like?
Yeah, great question. So, unfortunately, I guess we've had multiple occurrences of that here just recently in our local geography for some of our trusted customers here close to home, where thankfully we've been able to mobilize men, material, and machines, sometimes within minutes or hours of getting the call, right? And really, what that allows us to do is mitigate further damage to those structures. And I think of things like trusses where the purlins have been pulled off. So now you have, in some cases, a 70, 80, 90-foot wide truss that is lacking the other structural components to tie them together. So we've been able to mobilize crews to immediately take care of that and get customers' roofing structures secured. I think of another instance locally in a cattle barn where the roof was significantly damaged and basically the livestock didn't have a place to be, right? So we were able to get that cleaned up, get the structure secured, and get that farmer back to daily operations so that they weren't having livestock displaced for any longer than absolutely necessary.
So what advice would you give to anybody that is unsure if they have some of that damage, that non-foreseeable damage in there? What would you say to that?
I can sum it up in one word, TJ: proactive. Just be proactive. As any building owner, right? I would encourage you to be proactive in the sense of know that you've got a good working relationship with your insurance company, right? The worst way to find that out is when you need them, right? So be proactive, make sure you've got a good working relationship. Talk to your insurance company about what the claims process looks like. Make sure that you're prepared, unfortunately, right? Because in the Midwest, it's not a matter of if you will ever be impacted by storm damage. It's more so a matter of when, right? So be prepared for that. But the same thing goes for your builder, right? We created our free inspection report program to be able to be on site and give you peace of mind about what your building is experiencing. And the greatest thing that we would love for that to happen, right, is to be able to get out on site, take a walk around your building, have a professional um, analysis of your building and to be able to look you in the eye with a smile and say your building's good to go, right? Unfortunately, that's not the case in every situation, but catching those things earlier than later is not only going to save you money, but a lot of headache and heartache in the end as well. So just be proactive, be prepared, and that way you're not caught off guard when one of those unfortunate events may come around.
All right, Ben. So thanks for stopping by. We had a good time on the first podcast you were on.
Sure did. Yeah.
Be sure to like and subscribe for more post frame content.